And here we are live with another episode of Talking Sports with the Legend. Tonight's guest is Mark Seidenburg, the head coach of the
Delaware Valley
men's
men's
basketball team. Is that correct?
That's correct. Delaware Valley University men's basketball.
Thank you. Take it away, Legend.
Where were you born?
Oh, Steve, first off, thanks for having us on today. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I was born in Jeans Hospital in the Fox Chase section of the city.
Where did you go to grade school, high school, and college?
I went to St. Cecilia's grade school, so St. Cecilia's Catholic grade school in Fox Chase, and then from there went to Cardinal Doherty High School. After Cardinal Doherty High School, I spent 1 year at Manor Junior College, not too far from Fox Chase, and then transferred to Elizabethtown College, an NCAA Division III school, just outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, so about 2 hours west of Philadelphia.
What year did you get out of Doherty?
I graduated Doherty in 2001.
What sports did you play growing up?
Well, growing up, it was whatever really was in season. You know, playing with kids in the neighborhood, baseball, basketball, soccer, football, a little bit of roller hockey and street hockey. But then as you get older, you start to really focus on the sports that you tend to gravitate to. And for me, by the time I got to high school, that was basketball, soccer, and golf. So I was able to do a lot of sports growing up. But then when I got to high school, I really focused on soccer in the fall, basketball in the wintertime, and then was able to play golf in the spring.
Did you always want to be a coach?
No, I knew that question was coming from watching your interview with Coach Heimerdinger, which you did a great job on. No, I actually never thought about coaching. Played basketball in high school, played a little in college, got into the business world directly after graduating from Elizabethtown College. And then after about 5 years of being in professional corporate sales, I just had an itch to get back into coaching, to get back around the game of basketball, and started with a volunteer assistant position at the high school level, and did that for 3 years before I had a chance to coach at Dickinson College as a volunteer assistant. Moved on from Dickinson College to Penn State Harrisburg. From there, went to Messiah College, and then after 4 years at Messiah College, all Division III schools, I was able to get my first head coaching job at Delaware Valley University.
What do you do for a regular job?
What do I do for my other job?
Yeah.
I don't have another job. I'm a full-time college basketball coach. So, you know, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, my day is full of dealing with young people, student athletes that obviously a lot of it is about basketball. You know, I am their coach, but you know, coaching at the college level, it's you know, I would say about 30% of the time you are coaching. The other 70% of the time you're grooming people to be successful as they get older. You're mentoring young people. You're helping them academically, socially, with internships. So yeah, it's a full-time job. It's a blessing and an opportunity that I am very, very grateful for. But it is the only thing that I get to do each day is to coach basketball and help young people.
Are you guys having the season this year?
We are. Our first game is this Thursday night at Arcadia University. So it's a little different. We normally start in November, Steve, but this year we're starting this Thursday. So February the 11th, we'll be at Arcadia at 7 p.m. And we normally are able to play 25 games a year at the college level, Steve. But this year we're going to play 10 games all within our conference. We're going to play 5 different opponents, and we're going to play one opponent per week, and we'll play them 2 times in the week. So back to back. It'll be Thursday night, we'll play at Arcadia. Friday night, we'll play home. And then the next 4 weeks, we'll do the same against 4 other opponents within our conference. And we'll have a conference playoff after that and a conference championship. And hopefully our program is a part of the latter.
You guys ever play Bryn Athens?
We have. We played Bryn Athens last year. It was the last game of the fall semester before Christmas break. Able to escape with a win against Coach Baxter. in his last year at Bryn Athyn last year. And we've also scrimmaged them in the past. They have a new coach this year, Coach Sean, and I've actually gotten to know him over the years when he was an assistant coach at Hood College. So we are going to play them again December the 17th, December the 17th at home. So do you have some friends over at Bryn Athyn, Steve?
You have some friends. You said you have friends over at Bryn Athyn.
Yeah, I know a couple of the girls, a couple of the players on the girls baseball teams
Okay,
and soccer.
cool. Well, maybe you'll be able to come up for the game when we play them next year.
He's involved with a program that Arcadia, Bryn Athyn are, and they're two different programs he goes to, and he goes to their universities for different things. And they've been great to him over there. And Holy Family uses that field for their soccer games.
Okay.
And he loves it's real close to our house. I mean, we're literally, I think it's like 8 minutes from our door to the soccer field and the basketball court. We're
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna send Steve a real big Del Val sweatshirt or T-shirt, and then when he goes over to those schools, he can wear some Del Val gear when he goes to campus. Okay.
Oh boy, now you got him. That's it. Now you got Stephen hooked.
Well, look, I had to rock the Cardinal Doherty sweatshirt for Stephen tonight.
I don't know
So
if you can see his shirt. He's got his Doherty soccer alumni shirt.
Okay.
And he got his Doherty hat on.
Yeah, I had to get home and get my Doherty hoodie on real quick before I jumped in with the legend.
I love it. I love it. And
Cool.
you played under Mr. Heimendinger, right?
I coached under Coach Heimerdinger. I played under Coach Heimerdinger. I did.
That's awesome.
Are you guys involved with Athletes Up and Athletes?
We are. We actually do it through a group that's run by a gentleman named Mike Rush. Mike works in the Doylestown area, and he brings a small group over. We've done it 4 years in a row. We've brought a small group over of about 5 to 7 young athletes with special needs, and they've come over on Martin Luther King Day the last 4 years. So the last 4 straight years, we have had practice, and then when practice is over, we've been able to get our program, our team, our coaches. We bring in some of those athletes. They come in, we spend about an hour. We do a basketball clinic with them. And then we do some fellowship afterwards. We order pizza, order food. Their families come. So we do that once a year, and we try to make a nice afternoon and evening out of it.
That's awesome.
What are the teams in your conference?
Well, we are in the MAC conference, and the MAC, the Mid-Atlantic Conference, consists of schools in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. We actually have 2 sides to the conference. There's the MAC Commonwealth and the MAC Freedom. It's one of the, I believe it's actually the only conference in the NCAA that has 2 conferences under one conference office. So the MAC Freedom and the MAC Commonwealth, they're separate from each other, but they're in the same conference. Each has its own NCAA representative from a conference champion. So we're in the MAC Freedom, like I said. Arcadia and Lycoming came over this year to join us. Delaware Valley, King's College, Wilkes-Barre University, and Misericordia University, as well as DeSales University and Farley Dickinson University Florham, which is in New Jersey. So we're a 9-team conference. The top 5 make the playoffs. And it's one of the most storied and oldest conferences in Division III.
That's awesome.
How far have you traveled as a coach or a player?
Well, in high school, we traveled to New Jersey. Coach Ding took us to the Buckets by the Beach Classic in North Wildwood. I think he took us there because the town was empty at the time, so we couldn't get ourselves in any trouble. But we went to New Jersey in high school, and then in college, when I was an assistant coach at Messiah College, we went to Florida, to Miami every Christmas, over Christmas break for a tournament. So Florida would be the furthest that we've traveled as a basketball team. Also North Carolina, so they're probably the 2 furthest trips that I personally have made for basketball.
Do you still get nervous before a game?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I would say I am a nervous wreck on game day. Not really nervous about the outcome of the game. I think it's just you put so much time and effort and attention to detail into a few days of practice leading up to a game. So you're just anxious to see your student athletes execute. You're anxious to see them succeed. You're anxious to see them win the game, smile, be excited, right? There's a lot that goes into a season and to winning games. And you want to see all of that come true and come to fruition on the basketball court. And you want to see them play with joy and excitement. So you're nervous for all these things leading up to a game, especially for me. But honestly, once we leave the locker room, once we bring it in that last time and the ball goes up and, then it's just, it's excitement, it's energy, it's passion, it's competition. So, it's more of an exciting nervousness because, as the coach, you have no control over the game at that point. You've already instilled your game plan. You've already done your scouting report. You've already recruited your team. You can't make any last minute additions to your team. So, whatever it is, the pre-work that you put into a game, you have to be confident in it. You have to be ready for it to roll. And the other thing, a lot of coaches say they're not nervous for games. We play 25 games a year, Steve. So our body of work as coaches are put on display 25 times publicly for everybody to watch and everyone to see. And you want your student athletes to shine. You want them to be put in a great position to, show all the great things that they can do. And then you as a team come out on top. So yes, I am a bag of nerves for every game. I'm already nervous about Thursday night's game at Arcadia.
Yeah, same here. I've been up with our whole family's women's soccer team 9 years and took a nervous before every game. I'll never forget it one time. 2 years ago, before our senior game, going in, she had 49 goals. I'm like, she's gonna get it. Second half, penalty kick, she got it.
Did she get it? How many did she finish the year with? 50?
52.
That was her career.
Yeah.
Not in 1 year. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said 1 year. I was about to be like, holy cow, is that Carly Lloyd?
No, he was saying 1 year while he was coaching.
Oh, I was gonna say, who is
I got you. Yeah, in 1 year, that would be something else.
Yeah, it must have been a Doherty person.
No, she was the Chamonix, right?
Yeah, no.
Ben Salem.
Yeah.
Ben Salem.
Okay.
Yeah, Steven interviewed Carly Lloyd. You got to check that one out. That was one of his original ones.
The very first one, I think.
Very
Old
first
school.
one. Yeah, he met her.
That's a throwback classic.
Yeah, he met her three years ago.
Where did he meet her
4
at?
years ago today.
4 years ago today. Tell him the story, Steve. Where he said, "Where'd you meet her?" Tell her how.
Yeah, where'd you meet her at? Tell the people want to know.
Tell them how you got tricked in.
Well, I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to. I thought we were going. Me and my boss. She told me I was going to go see this girl. We signed a letter of content for us. I'm like, all right, whatever. When we went to the, when I got to the close to the
training facility.
Yeah, when I got close to it, at the time, he met out reading the book. That we had the names of the roads. But Carly Lloyd's here. My mom was there. I'm like, instead of put two and two together. So she walked in. I must tackled her.
It just came up on his timeline
Today.
Today it was today, and it was so funny. He hugs her and he goes, and what a great person she is. God, that was when he met her first face to face, and then he contacted her asking her to do an interview on him on Instagram, and they did it live on Instagram. It was great. Great.
If I ever run into her anywhere, I'm gonna definitely make sure I mention the legend's name here.
She knows him, boy. She knows him. She's the best.
Do you have a role model in coaching?
Role model, I do, and it's two people that I think, three people that I think are kind of make up whatever it is that I've wanted to base my coaching on. Not really philosophy wise on the basketball court. X's and O's. You take things from everywhere you've been as a coach. So I have 3 stops as an assistant coach at the college level. So you take some things from Dickinson College, some things from Penn State Harrisburg, some things from Messiah College, and you put them all together. But then when you step back and you really look, all right, hey, what's the role of a coach? Like, what does a coach actually mean outside of X's and O's? The three people I look at are my cousin, Chris Sattel, who got me started in coaching. He was born and raised in Philadelphia. Mark Heimerdinger, Coach Ding, is someone that when I coach on the sidelines, it's just, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I can't hide my excitement. I can't hide my energy, my frustration at times. It's just, it's just raw. It's real. It's a competitive, emotional event. And when I think about my time at Doherty and I think about watching Coach Heimerdinger coach, it wasn't necessarily, to us funny or, that he was acting so emotional and passionate. For us, we saw a coach that was fighting for his student athletes. Somebody that would be in the foxhole with you and battling against the refs, against other teams, against, in gyms in the Catholic League where it's just you and your team and, you're in a competitive environment. So that's kind of where I get my emotion and my excitement to let the guys know visually, hey, I'm here with you. And then John Chaney, Coach Chaney just passed away last week, but I grew up, 8.2 miles from Temple and Fox Chase. I was a ball boy for 2 years at the Atlantic 10 tournament. Growing up, Temple was anyone that knew me knew that Temple was my favorite. Rick Brunson, Leonard Stewart, Huey Futch, William Cunningham. I mean, just Pepe Sanchez, guys that I grew up watching and that I have a chance every now and then to get down and see play live. But John Chaney, Coach Heimerdinger, and then my cousin Chris will be the three coaches that I really have tried to shape who I am and how I coach and the emotion and passion I try to coach with after.
I can imagine how your cousin is then, because both Mr. Heimerdinger and Mr. Chaney were legends on the court side when they're screaming and hollering.
Yeah, it's funny because my cousin gave me my start in coaching as a volunteer high school assistant. I did that for 2 years, and then I was there. I made like $500 my third year. It covered like a couple months of gas, and that was my third year. And then I went and I was a volunteer assistant that was an hour away at Dickinson College, and I remember thinking to myself, like, man, these college coaches, like, they're really like able to control their emotions. Coming from my 3 years with my cousin, I was like, holy cow, like, my cousin's crazy. But then you get in the position where you're in the head seat and you're the coach, and you just realize that, like, hey, my personality, who I am as a person, it matches these other people. And some of the other coaches that you get to work with, like, maybe some of the calmness and the coolness that they coach with, it, I can take some of that, and replace some of the energy and the passion and the emotion. But every time I try to do that, I just find myself coming back to my natural self, which is just, excitement and energy and passion. And I think that comes from watching guys like Coach Chaney and Coach Ding, coach from afar, than being up close with my cousin.
Yeah, what was great about both Chaney and Mr. Heimerdinger, and I never watched your cousin coach, but they didn't yell at their players in the middle of a game. They did it at halftime, or if, you guys were practicing. I wasn't there, but it wasn't like in the middle of a game. They would be yelling at the refs, but not really yelling at you guys. His head used to get red. Remember that?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
Does your head get red too?
Yeah, I have a vein right here that like comes out to like I could knock somebody over 3 feet away from me. And for Coach Heimerdinger, like, yeah, he didn't yell at us, but when you walked by him back to the bench, I mean, you got 5 words that probably were more significant than any yelling anybody could do.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, when you came out, he gave you 5 words that he probably couldn't say loud.
Right.
But what it did was for some people, listen, for some guys, it made, it could make you frustrated. The coach gets on you, they ride you, they push you, they motivate you. And yeah, like Coach rode us too, Coach Heimerdinger, and pushed us, but that's just because he thought we could be great. He thought we could be better than what maybe the effort we were putting out was. And, I wish I would have had that approach when I played for him, of saying like, hey, he's pushing me because he thinks I'm not playing the way I should right now. But I was 15 or 18 years old and immature. But yeah, Coach Ding he's a great motivator. That's what he is. Like, yeah, he yells and screams and his head got red. But when you saw him doing that on the court, man, and you saw him on the sideline fighting like that, that just made you want to compete harder and dive for a loose ball. And like, who can knock Coach Fox's water bottle out of his hand, diving into the judge bench. like Ding makes you do those things because of his effort in coaching you, and that's what a great coach does.
It was funny. Steven had made me print an article out that Joe Mason did on the Northeast Times, and it was about how he said he always wanted to get like Doherty kids, and it's funny because when you say like a city kid in basketball, and some of them, the real good basketball people, they knew, Philadelphia was rich, tradition. But then when Kyle finally made it to the NBA, Tina Mobley, but Kyle was, came from Villanova, that, was a lot more back when Katina played. Katina, it wasn't as, the TV wasn't as much. You didn't have all them cable games on every night of the week and stuff. That was Catino was a few years way more ahead of you. He was 80. He graduated in 92. 92. So yeah, he was way ahead of you.
He got about 10 years older.
Yeah, he responded to Steven. Steven reached out to him. So in the future, Steven may have Katina Mobley on.
Well, I will for sure.
We will for sure. That's it. The Legends breaking news. Breaking news.
Breaking news right here. Coach Seidenburg says Cat Mobley will definitely be on the Legends podcast.
He's the best, man.
We will make sure Coach Jay Pierce hunts him down.
There you go.
Do you want to coach at the higher level?
I don't have any aspirations to coach at Division II, coach at Division I. Division III for me, it's the whole thing. You are recruiting every kid as the head coach. There's no full-time assistant coaches. You're setting up for practice. You're collecting laundry at the end. But you spend so much intimate time with young people that I feel like you get to know them at the Division III level outside of basketball. Division I, it's a business. You're there on scholarship. They're essentially paying you to be there through the scholarship. At Division II, not everybody's on scholarship, but there's partials and the time commitments are different. Division III, they are there for their academics first. They're there to be an accountant. They're there to be a physical therapist. They're there to be a teacher. They're there to be a psychologist. And they also happen to have this unbelievable passion for athletics. And to me, seeing both of those things, where the student athlete is putting the student part first and then the athlete is coming second, having 3 children, like for my 3 kids to grow up around young men and young women in the other programs that they see, where these guys are just constantly sacrificing their social time, they're sacrificing opportunities to go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, to be around friends and family, to pour into the sport that they love, to see them doing homework on the way home from an away game or to a game. Like, you just appreciate these guys at a level that I'm not sure people realize they deserve at Division III. So for me, being a dad and having young kids, like, I want my children to grow up and to have the same type of commitment to something that they're passionate about that Division III athletics has. And I think Division III sports is the purest form of amateur athleticism and athletics there is. And to be a part of that for me is something special. So I'm a Division III guy. I love it. And it's where I want to be.
Yeah, that's what I did Division III my senior year. We were even smaller than that my first 3 years. We were NAIA.
And where was that at?
Spring Garden College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. You remember that, right? They had a decent basketball program.
Yeah. So what did that became what, Philadelphia Community College?
No, they just went bankrupt. They bought a piece of land down the street from where I went to school and in a building, and then they bought the Pennsylvania School of the Deaf, and then they went bankrupt because they didn't get enough students and folded in 1992. So the guys that were going there that year, most of them transferred to Philly University, now Jefferson University.
Okay.
And at the time, I think it might have been textile still at the time in 92. But I completely understand what you mean about we were NAIA, so it was like our coach scrounged up money, but he also like made sure everybody did the financial aid stuff, because a lot of kids don't realize what's out there, and some of their parents, especially back then, were not intelligent enough to handle like some of the applications that you had to do. So you had to wind up doing stuff yourself. Well, now it's a whole different ball game with these computers, and these kids are so much more adapt to doing it on their own. And that's a great answer you gave Steven, though, because Steven's asked a lot of coaches that question at your level, and some of them were Division II, and they said the same answer as kind of as you did. And they said, what we're doing now is, some people have aspirations to go on to the NBA someday, but I try to explain to Steven, to people that it's your full-time job. I mean, I'm sure you have the same attitude as a lot of coaches. It's like, this isn't work, this is fun. Like you said, 70% of it is doing the other stuff, but 30% of it, you're on the court having fun, teaching kids something, and they're learning. And like you said, they focus on the books, and that's what I try to tell this guy. Not everybody's going to the NBA and to the NFL. It's few and far and in between.
Yeah, I think what we try to just tell our guys, is, look, let's just pretend you all do go to the NBA. Let's just pretend that. Let's pretend you all play overseas. The ball, at some point, the ball stops bouncing.
There you go.
Right? Like at some point, the ball stops bouncing, and you need to do something. So even if you're worth, millions of dollars, and you've had contracts, like you still have to live the rest of your life, productively, and being engaging and being able to leave things better and the world a better place than you found it. And I think a lot of that are some of the lessons that we teach. Like, hey, you're here, that you play basketball for 4 years in Division III. You play 25 games a season. So if you never make the playoffs, you're guaranteed 100 games in college. And after those 100 games, there's probably a 99.3% chance that you need to then go into the workforce. So what skills are you equipped with for the workforce? And as a small college coach, that's with these guys from September until they leave campus in May, some of those skills that they need to go out in the real world with, like, they need to pick them up at practice. And that's not a ball screen. That's not how to go backdoor, how to shoot a jump shot. Like, that's not helping them in a meeting at 9 a.m. 10 years down the road. So we're trying to, teach them, through the game of basketball, how to succeed now, but set yourself up to be successful down the road. And I just think I think if you're a coach not doing that, you're missing the mark. You just have a great platform and a great voice to be able to do so.
Absolutely. Great answer.
How did your team do last year?
Well, we missed the playoffs, and that wasn't the goal. So last year was my 4th year at Delaware Valley. We've made the MAC semifinals. We made the MAC semifinals 2 of my first 3 years. We won the regular season title my first year. So last year we thought, hey, we made the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. I made the semifinals twice. We thought last year was going to be a step forward, and that step forward is, a return to the Final Four in the conference and a pursuit of a conference championship. And we fell short. I think we learned last year that, talent gets you really far, right? Like, you can get far on talent, but you can't get as far as you want. You can't hit your goals. Like, you can get somewhere, you can go half the distance, but the ability to connect as a team, the ability to really pay attention to details, to be purpose oriented versus goal oriented. That's they were some of the things that were a roadblock for us last year. So we're looking to turn that around this year, make it 3 out of 5 years in the playoffs. And the big message for our guys this year has been like, hey, yeah, the goal is the playoffs, the goal is the championship, the goal is to win games. But if we can kind of put the goals on the back burner and create a purpose, what's our purpose? To grow together, to get better each day, to do certain things. And I think we can get right back where we want to be this season. So we're pretty excited about it.
Good luck.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
How does your team look for this upcoming season?
Well, this year, Steve, and that's a good question. How's your team look for this upcoming season? We get that question every year as a coach, but this year it's different. We have 19 guys enrolled full-time on our roster. Only 11 of them have opted in to play this season. So we 3 starters from last year's team have opted out, and then our 6th man from last year's team opted out, and 3 of our 4 forwards opted out. So this year is going to be different. We have 11 guys. We have 2 forwards on the roster. We're going to play a more guard-oriented game. We're going to try to play more up and down, but we're excited about this season. We have 10 games to show what we're about. We had 3 days of practice in the fall. That's all we were able to be together because of protocols and shutdowns and pauses to our work. And we've been back on campus since January 15th. The guys have been working really hard. We've been practicing, getting better. Guys are really competing this year. And we're excited for the 11 guys that we have on our team. And I will say this, I think some of my excitement about this year isn't that I think this team can go 10-0 or 7-3, or, again, it's not goal oriented of winning games. I'm excited for this team because these guys have sacrificed a lot to make it here. They've sacrificed socially, they sacrificed personally, academically, their schedules, not being able to work their normal jobs because they want to keep their bubbles really small. We're testing 3 times a week our student athletes for the coronavirus. So, our guys are sacrificing. I'm excited for them to have a chance that after a full year on Thursday to just watch them get out and compete and do something that they love. So the purpose this year is to make it through 10 games, stay healthy, but we want to win as many of those as possible, and we want to be standing by ourselves at the end.
Are any fans allowed to go to the games?
No fans this year. No fans at the games this year. The games are live streamed. We have announcers, but no fans at this year's MAC games. I can't speak for all conferences. I just know the MAC.
Right.
Decided no fans.
Yeah, well, Stephen got it notified already about the Holy Family, but they're, it's that's why I told him. I said, Steve, they're gonna, do what they got to do to, like you said, stay healthy, and they got to get tested and all. And we talked to a lot of coaches, and we talked to one athletic director from Jefferson, and he said they had to opt out. It was too expensive for testing because they wanted to do all the sports, and so they just made a decision to cancel everything this year.
Those soccer,
men's, right,
and women's.
And women's, that was the only sport.
As far as I know.
Yeah, because basketball, he was the basketball coach too.
He's a basketball guy.
Now he canceled it. And that's the thing, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're in unprecedented times.
Yeah, I mean, they're there for their education, and that's the main thing that you stressed earlier, and that's what he stressed. And then, like you said about the 11 kids that, opted in, they give them credit. They're trying to stay, healthy, and they're, like you said, they're making their bubble small. So that's another big commitment to make at these times where, you can't do stuff with some of these other kids are doing. And I try to explain that to Steven. I said, just because kids do it doesn't mean it's right. And you're supposed to, follow the guidelines no matter what you're doing, whether it's working a regular job or you're playing sports. And if they're letting you play sports, you got to do what the coach tells you and what the school tells them.
Yeah, get an extra year.
Well, the kids that are opting out, will they get an extra year?
Everybody, even the ones that are playing this year.
They'll be back next year.
And they'll get an extra year of eligibility?
Yeah, they'll be back.
But Steven,
they'll be. The NCAA granted a blanket waiver. Yeah, there's some stipulations with that.
Okay, so even the kids that are playing now, that's what Steven's asking. Like the kids that are playing that opted in.
Yeah, they get that year. Okay, yeah, they get that year back.
No, he's the legend. He knows it all.
He does. You know what? Listen, ever since my days at Cardinal Doherty High School, we've heard about this legend, and now to be on the Smash Hit podcast with him, this is surreal.
He knows it all. He got all the stats for his coaches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is on his game. ESPN is going to be calling real soon.
What do you look for in a recruit?
Well, that's a great question. That's a home run question for any coach that recruits, because recruiting is the lifeblood of any program. It's not high school. So it's not like you look through the hallways and you say, all right, well, who do we have to choose from this year? We go out and we hand select our team. So in doing so, yeah, they have to have some of those natural things that coaches look for, right? Like you want to see a guy that plays really hard. He's a great teammate. He's competitive. But for us, it's who are the guys that first in, last to leave? who are the guys when things aren't going right, they're solution based. Maybe you lose 2 games in a row, and these guys are like, all right, how do we become a team that can solve this, and we can kind of turn the skid around. We want winners, and that's what they are. We want guys that win. So I'm not a real big quote person. I don't tend to use quotes. My student athletes, our players laugh at me because every now and then I do come into practice and give a quote. But the one that we used on Saturday is champions act like champions always. So when our guys are putting the basketballs away, when our guys are passing it, we want them to do that perfectly. So for us, we want guys that how do they warm up? Are they looking in the stands, or are they focused? How are they as they arrive to the gym? Are people greeting them? Are they shaking people's hands? Do they have eye contact? We're trying to look at all those things, because remember, we're dealing with the person 75% of the time. 30% we're dealing with the basketball player. And then once somebody passes all those things, they have the grades, right? Academically, they're around that 3.0. They've proven they can do the standardized testing for ACTs or SATs, and they meet the criteria academically. We want to find out if they have the right major. So we look for that. Like, is there compatibility on how far we are from home to campus? What are the majors? Financially, does our school financially make sense for a family? Are they looking for those things, and can we provide them? And then on the basketball court, for us, we value guys that first defend, second can rebound, and then third have the ability to get up and down the court, but also be able to stop and play a cerebral game. So, we're looking for the total package. But honestly, Steve, for me, it's, we need someone that's a winner. And whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in the hallways, in the dorms, like, they are approaching things as a champion. They're doing the best that they can. They're making the next right decision every day. And in my experience, this is my 13th year in Division III. At 38 years old, my 13th year in Division III, I would say that those guys, if you can find yourself a group of those guys and then they stay with the program over the course of their 4 years, by the time those guys get to their sophomore, junior year, the basketball really starts to shine for them, because they don't have any other baggage from any other areas of their life coming into the gym every day. So we want winners. We want guys that act like champs, and guys that really want to grow with the program and develop over time.
What is your daily schedule like in
Game
season?
on game day,
So
game day, or just regular
Yeah.
season, regular day.
yeah,
Game day.
And not game day.
okay. So on a non-game day, so I'll walk you through today. So today, got in the office around 8:45. Knocked out a few emails, cleaned up some things that we had to do in the morning. Had a Zoom meeting with all of the head coaches at Delaware Valley. Talk about protocols for COVID-19. Talk about protocols to get our spring sports up and running. Talked about protocols for game day management for our men's basketball games when we have home games this year. Who's working? What are the safety protocols for the away team? So a lot of planning and coordinating through Zoom meetings. And then that was done at about 11 a.m. I was on the small college coaches call. So that's all of the small college men's basketball coaches from Philadelphia. We had a conference call today. I really appreciate the coaches organizing that. And then from 1 o'clock until about 6 o'clock, it was basketball. We had guys come in for individual work, guys come in to get extra work in the weight room. And then we had practice that got bumped back a little late today, practice for 2.5 hours. So, 70% of my day is dealing with academics and dealing with, the administrative side of being a full-time college basketball coach. And then the other 30% of the day is, being in the weight room, the film room, and in the basketball gym.
Now, you guys have like a certain you guys have to have like 2 groups for practices, or no?
So that's a really good question. In the fall, we did. In the fall, we had 2 groups. So we had all 19 student athletes with us in the fall, our whole team. So we had a group of 10 and a group of 9. Once we got through the fall and we started our season on January 15th, then we were able to come together as one group. We wear masks for practice. Our guys have been great. They haven't complained. They haven't asked questions. They just, they're so grateful. And I am grateful. We are grateful to be competing that, wearing a mask for us, if it allows us to be together, be on the basketball court, that's an easy sacrifice our guys have been sacrificing for so long. So, but yeah, we're back together as a team, and we were separated as two groups in the fall.
Now, they have to wear masks during the game, or was that optional?
So that is optional per institution, so per university. So some universities are going to require masks to be worn when games are played on their campus. Other universities are going to allow it at the discretion of the team. So it's, there's no one size fits all. That's, you're not going to appease everybody, but I think our conference has done a really good job of being fair and equitable and creating solutions that help to make all of the member schools on both sides of the conference really comfortable and confident that we can get through the season. It's about keeping everybody safe.
What is your game day schedule like?
Well, once I wake up and I'm not nervous anymore, I try to get a workout. I got a little laugh out of you. I like that. Try to get a workout in. I always try to get a workout in, just something on the treadmill, just to get some of the the energy I have building up inside out. But honestly, it's for me. I try to keep my mind off the game during the day, business as usual. And I try to get off campus for lunch, just to try to get away from campus because it's a long day. Try to get a workout in about an hour before the girls' game starts. So if the girls' game's at 6, I try to get a workout in at 5, shower, dressed by 6:30, meet the team in the locker room. But yeah, no, try to be with my family in the morning. Try to call my wife and 3 kids as our team's out in layup lines. For that 25 minutes, I normally try to FaceTime my wife and children and just take my mind off the game for a few minutes, get to a good spot. And then right before we go out in the court, just couple quick memory things that I got to do. But business as usual, Steve. It's trying not to be nervous and trying not to think about it too much, trying to occupy yourself. But it's game day. I just running around nervous all day long is how kind of I am.
Do you have a rival with another team in your conference?
Just being honest, after last year, they're kind of all rivals. This year, we really want to go out and do well this year. But I would say DeSales University for us. DeSales is a rival. A lot of people when they talk about rivals, it's like, hey, who do I hate the most? I hate this team. But for me, I think DeSales University has just been the class of the conference over a long time. Scott Koval, Coach Koval, their head coach. He's just incredible at what they do and the consistency they have year after year. So to be the best, you want to beat the best. And a lot of teams are looking up at DeSales a lot of times. So I would say credit to them, and they're our rival because they've been the team to beat in the conference.
Did you ever win a championship?
Not a national championship. That would be kind of cool. But in high school, we won the Northern Division title in 2000, 2001, Cardinal Doherty, Coach Heimerdinger. So we were 13-1. We won the Catholic League Northern Division Championship, and then we beat McDevitt in the playoffs, and then lost to Roman Catholic with Eddie Griffin at Temple University. A great game. It was a 6-point game with only a couple minutes left. And then as a head coach, we won the Gettysburg College tip-off tournament my first year. So that was a tournament championship. And then we've also won a MAC Freedom regular season championship. So 3 championships, but I'd really like to get a conference championship one day.
Yeah,
So does Steven.
All right, Steve. Well, when I get one, I'm going to make sure I send you a picture of it. All right.
Yeah, this is his 9th season, so he never won the championship. Got there twice.
Yeah, got there twice.
Not yet, though.
Same exact team beat us twice, but hopefully it's not 7 years in between anymore.
Well, I got a good feeling. Listen, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a hold of the visiting coach, whoever you guys are playing in the championship next year. We're gonna get a hold of him. We're gonna tie him and their best couple players up. And we're gonna get you that championship. One way or the other, we're getting it for you. All right. Don't worry, we got it. We got you.
what would you say the biggest game that you ever coached in?
You know what? For me, that's an easy one. That is really easy for me. It was my first game as a head coach. I was never a high school head coach. So, I didn't have any head coaching experience when I took over at Delaware Valley University. I had, I had 8 years as an assistant coach at the college level. So, you spend all this time preparing to be a head coach, and then all of a sudden, like you're standing on the sidelines, and in 2 minutes the ball goes up. That was really exciting. We had a big win. I think we won 80 something to 40 something. It was exciting. We played the game the right way. We won a championship tournament the next weekend. So that first game for me was really special because it kind of shows like, hey, you work really hard, you set goals, you create a purpose for yourself and your mission. You can achieve what it is you want to achieve. And for me, that was awesome. To have my dad sitting behind the bench watching me coach my first game, that was, man, it was really cool. So I hope everybody has a chance to live their goal and their dream out because that was a neat experience for me. I think people get, I just hope everybody has a chance to do that.
It's a great answer. Some of the answers a lot of times is like depending on how long the guy's been coaching or girl's been coaching, they've been certain championship games and all. But the first game is got to be exciting to be the first time as a head coach at any level, and let alone Division III at a college level. It's pretty amazing. That's really good.
Yeah, it's funny if you watched me coach like year 2, 3, 4, like animated and excited and conversating and conversing back and forth with the officials and your team, and maybe somebody hits a 3 and you throw your arms up, just out of pure energy and excitement. If you watch my first game on film, like I didn't even know how to act. I remember there was things I wanted to argue, and I'm like, well, how do you do this? What line do you cross, not cross? How far can you walk out on the court and call a timeout when you're angry? So I start thinking like, what would Coach Heimerdinger do? And I was like, man, I'll get kicked out at like warm-ups in the layup lines. So I just sat there and I folded my arms and I paced back and forth, and our guys played a great game. But that was, as I think about that memory, it's funny. I had no idea how to act. I didn't know how to express myself. And I just remember talking to my dad and my cousin. They said, man, just be you, and then I opened up as kind of got further into, being a head coach and got more experience under my belt.
That's funny.
Does your conference have like a channel that I can watch like all the games on?
So what I can do is I will email you the schedule, the link to our schedule, and then each game will have a button for the live stream. It's probably similar to what Holy Family does with you guys. But yeah, I'll email you the schedule, and you can watch them all. And when we win, you can post it. If we don't post anything, please.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at live streaming. Trust me.
Mhm.
All you gotta do is send him, like you said, send him the website, and boom, that's all he needs. Tell him, Steve, we got a what was it channel? I got a channel so he can watch
Any game.
high school and college, right?
No, I think even grade school. I think so.
Grade school too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's worth it. He loves going to live games, and he hasn't been able to go no games, and he's got his own seat at Holy Family for the men's and women's basketball and volleyball games. And he just misses it. And then, like I said, this social distancing couldn't have happened to a worse person. He's Mr. Social Butterfly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if those walls and hallways could talk at Cardinal Doherty High School, they would probably have some big time stories about Mr. Steven.
Oh yeah.
How do you keep your program so successful?
Listen, I think success when we talk about success in sports, we look at championships, and rightfully so. I think that is, that's how you measure success, right? You measure success by wins and losses and championships. So for me, we've been successful in that realm 50% of the time. We've made the playoffs 2 out of the last 4 years. We've made the semifinals, and we've talked about that earlier. But I think success, and it's part of the reason why I love Division III, is that it's about more than that. Success at Division III, it's the total package. And for me, We have 12 seniors right now. You know, there's not a lot of schools that say, hey, we have 12 seniors. And we have 4 juniors. Now, 3 of those seniors won't be back next year. But if you take those 9 seniors that will be back and our 4 juniors that'll be back, we're going to have a 13-person senior class next year. And we're going to have 21 out of 22 seniors over the last 5 years will have graduated next May. So May of 2022, we will have 21 of 22 seniors graduate in 5 years. So when I think about success, like, yeah, we want to be more successful on the basketball court. Even if we win a championship every year, we want to continue to be more successful. But, you know, really looking at the overall success of the program, that's what I look at. Hey, are we winning? Are we winning against our peers, you know, in the conference and making conference playoffs? And are we graduating student athletes? So, you know, it goes back to recruiting. Are you bringing in winners, people that act like champions in all that they do? Student athletes that are willing to invest in themselves, be coached, be coachable, be great teammates, and get better in their early years at the university and with the program. And then you can have success. But if you have people that want quick results and that don't put the academic piece first, then you can't have success as a program. And that's not, you know, that's not the type of program that I would want to be, you know, putting out for the world to display on behalf of Del Val. So yeah, that's how I would define success, and that's how we've been successful with having those people.
That's a great recruiting tool for the, you know, parents and the serious student athlete to, you know, look at. And I tell Stephen all the time, I said, you know, this year they have a real big freshman incoming class. And I said, Stephen, but you know how it is. Out of those 10 girls or 9 girls, you know,
4
maybe
years ago,
only 3 or
we had
4.
like 13.
Right,
There's only 4 left.
right. And it's out of 13. And sometimes it's not Holy Family's fault or it's not the girl's fault. It's just the circumstances. And, you know, people, you know, change their mind about something. And it doesn't mean that the coach was bad, but it shows something more when you got a team like his where they all stuck it out together. Because a lot of kids, they'll go to Division 2, Division 3 their freshman year, and they think now I can go to Villanova, and they'll try, and then sometimes it works. But like he said, they're committed, these kids, to graduating and want to stay at the same, you know, university all 4 years, getting their degree that they went in there for.
And that's a lot of credit than the other coaches, because, you know, to bring a large class in like that and have them mature together over time. I mean, you know, listen, there's some people in that program then that really are willing to give of themselves, whether that's playing time or a role on a team or, you know, not being captain, and to show that they can stay together when things maybe aren't going their way as an individual, but collectively as a group, when they stay together, things obviously have gone their way with a great program there. So a lot of credit to Steve and the other coaches there.
Yep, and that's what I said to him. I said, you know, it's all about, you know, making sure that these kids know that you guys care, and they know it, and then they had practice, you know, you can see it. And that's why I said it, but it's so hard when you get that group of people to keep all of them together, and it's so hard, you know. But I said, but sometimes it works out, but other times it doesn't. But you gotta, the whole goal is to graduate. Whether you finish the soccer team or basketball, you graduate with your degree.
Absolutely.
Which one?
Tell us.
Oh, tell about any former players about their careers after, you know, graduating. What, you know, are they keeping in touch with you and about like what they're doing?
Did any of them play overseas or anything?
Overseas, anybody play overseas professionally, or if any of them made it professionally big already out of graduating and getting their own business or something like that?
Yeah, so it's been, man, I'll tell you what, it's crazy. Like, I'm 38, and now some of the guys that I first coached when I was at Dickinson College, like those guys are in their 30s. So, you know, I think I was 25 or 26 when I started at Dickinson. So guys that were 21 that graduated, those guys are 4 or 5 years younger than me. So, I mean, I try to stay in touch with as many as I can, and that's a lot. You know, some of the guys I live closer to. Social media is just amazing in its ability to stay connected. You know, I think being connected as a person is huge. We've learned about that through the pandemic over the last year, just not being able to be connected physically, but being able to stay connected virtually. Like it helps. It's never the same. But yet, starting at like Dickinson College, the head basketball coach at Germantown Academy, Matt Dolan. Matt played for us at Dickinson College, and Matt's someone that I keep in touch with, every year maybe on a monthly basis. Matt's a great young coach. He's got great players, but Matt's a good person. So Matt's someone that I've stayed in contact with really strongly from Dickinson College. My time at Messiah College was unbelievable. My wife and I had a great experience there and built a ton of relationships. There's a ton of student athletes at Messiah that got into physical therapy, which is what my wife is in. So she has been able to be a mentor to them over time. And so being able to get in touch with them, a couple of them and their girlfriends have babysat, or wives have babysat for my wife and I over time. Brad Bowen, who's somebody who played for us. He was an SID All-American. Brad was a 3-time All-Conference player, 2-time first-team All-Conference player. Brad could have played overseas in a heartbeat. I think Brad scored probably close to 1,400 or 1,500 points at Messiah College. Brad's an accountant. Brad's, I believe, a CFO now. Brad's not 35. And there's a lot of guys at Dickinson and Messiah College that have done unbelievable things. Penn State Harrisburg, a guy like Kenton Austin, who has impacted the Steelton High Spire community by refurbishing basketball courts, playgrounds, helping young people have an opportunity to get out and compete and do things that they love in a safe environment. So everything from guys opening businesses to guys in the private sector doing unbelievable things to guys publicly out in the world, putting their sweat and tears and labor and efforts into making things better for their community. So talk about being proud. Like you have guys doing all type of things. And for me, that's what coaching's about. It's the relationships, it's networking. We have our first guy playing overseas from Delaware Valley, Mike Chinchilli. Mikey was a 3-year player for me. Mikey's went to Pope John Paul, PJP High School, which is out in Royersford, out by like Collegeville. Mikey's playing in South America, and obviously some pausing and some disruption with COVID and how that went. But Mikey's the first one that I coached that was able to get a contract to play overseas. So really proud of Mikey, and hopefully he has his chance to go do his thing overseas. No NBA guys yet. No NBA. When I get the first NBA guy, I'll probably get my first championship too in that same year. So that will be exciting.
I tell you what, though, man, that's great that you had so many successful stories to relay, because that's what Stephen does, and that's what's great about the Holy Family basketball and soccer and all community. They like you said, it's great because social media, you send a tweet out there, like Stephen will say something, and then he'll get all kinds of follow up from all people that follow him with stuff. But the Holy Family community is great, and then that's why I tell him, I said, the more and more coaches we're meeting, we're finding it around. And it's so funny you mentioned Germantown Academy. That was where my head soccer coach at Spring Garden that's where he got his first coaching job. And it's so funny because I've met some coaches and people at my job, and it's so weird, to come in because they register cars with me from out of state. I work at an auto tag store.
Okay.
And they will be like, "Oh, I'm coaching a team." I'm like, "Oh, where at?" And then they'll say something, and I'll say, "Oh, I know this guy, that guy." And it's so funny because some of these guys are like, like you said, they're grown men, but I'm meeting them. I never met them as children and all, high school kids or college kids, but these guys are in their 30s, and I look at their license, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy was born in 1984, but he's 37 years old."
One coming up. I got another interview, right?
Yeah.
John Chaney's.
Oh, one of the girl that I told you about. Yeah, this girl I met went to Cheney State when John Cheney was back in the day, and she was there when John Cheney she he was our first coach in college, and then he went on after that and left and went right to Temple from there, and she kept in touch with all the years. So
Oh, really?
I promised Steven I would get her an interview. Yeah, she's got her own YouTube page and all. She's a South Philly girl, great woman. But back to what I was saying about the age thing. It's so funny. I see someone your age, and you said you're 38, so that means you were born in 81. You're going to be 39, right?
I was born in 83.
83. God,
Yep.
man. See, I was married in '83.
I'm getting old, man, getting old, 80s.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's so funny. You meet people. Tell them, Steve, how old you going to be next week?
30. No, not next week.
Yes, it is.
Next
Next Saturday,
Saturday.
not this Saturday.
Yes, it is. The
Oh my
13th.
God, this Saturday. I'm sorry. I'm thinking
I don't believe anybody.
Yeah,
I need to
34.
see a driver's license. I don't believe anybody, man.
34 years old he's gonna be.
Yeah.
34. He's an old man. So I said though, he's got
Steve, you're
gray
an old
hair.
man,
He
man.
has to shave all the time because he has gray hairs coming in.
And then I got two more questions. You have any tips for any coaches who want to go make a hire?
Well, not. I think Steven wants to know if you have any tips for guys in like high school that want to become coaches. And I think he gave one of the tips away already. And another Doherty grad just told you, and so did Joe Conklin, another Doherty grad. They work for free. You hear what he said? He did assistant coaching for free.
Wow.
So look,
Yeah, I actually,
you're a volunteer coach.
Yeah.
So that's why that's the key, man. You gotta go up
Just for the love of the game.
right. You say you got right. You wanna learn, and that's what he did. He did it. You hear he said he drove all over the place to volunteer.
You know what? Told me that Jim Kurt,
That's right.
Indians coach.
He said you got to show up
Yeah.
and tell them I'll be here helping you out if you need.
No, that was Michael Barkin.
Michael Barkan said the same thing.
I
Yeah, all successful people, Steve, and that's what he gave you that tip earlier. Do you have any other tips besides volunteering?
Yeah, well, listen, volunteer was the route that worked for me. But I think it's deeper than that, right? Like for me, it's all about pull back layers. Okay, well, I volunteer, but there's other things that had to happen. I mean, I had a job at ADP, which is a Fortune 200 company, as a sales manager at 25 years old with a very lucrative salary. And for me, that just wasn't hitting home for me. That's not something I saw myself doing for the next 40 years. And I knew I missed basketball. I knew I wanted to be around young people. So I actually left a six-figure job and put myself back in school at night to get a teaching degree. So I thought I wanted to be a high school teacher and a high school basketball coach. So I volunteer coached at the high school level and went to school at night, lived off my savings for the better part of a year and a half, which my wife's not happy about. But for me, I had to walk away from a career. I had to pursue a new career in teaching. And then as soon as I got done my teaching degree, I got an opportunity to go be a volunteer assistant at the college level. So I quit a job, got a new degree to start a new job, and I never taught a day in my life. I never even used my teaching degree because all I needed was that foot in the door at Dickinson College to have a chance. I thought I was willing to bet on myself. And, I needed to go through those 2 years of getting that teaching degree to be able to get my foot in the door. And I think the message that I'm trying to say is you need to find every angle, every avenue, and do something that other people may look at you and say, that's crazy that you're willing to do that. But to you, it's just like, yeah, but you might not have found the passion for something the way I have found a passion for something. So I think whether it's a young person or someone that's older than me that's saying, hey, I want to do this, like, just do it. And I'm not a big believer in like, there's a wall in front of you, like, hey, let's be smart, let's walk around it like now, like just run through it. And if it's hard, it's worth it. If it's easy, everybody would do it. And for me, I just think people need to not be afraid to share their goals. Like if you want to be a college basketball coach and you're 25 years old and you're a JV coach, you should be emailing, texting, calling college basketball coaches every day. Can I come to practice? Can I come watch one of your games? Can I sit in on a film session? Like you should just immerse yourself. And at some point, someone's going to see and be like, hey, there's value in what this person's willing to do for nothing. And then I think once you get that foot in the door and once you get a little bit of sunlight coming in, then you got to, like they say, you got to grab the bull by the horns and run with it. And that's what you have to do. Like I didn't have a college coach that said, hey, come get a start with me on my staff. I didn't have a friend that was a coach that said, hey, come coach with me. I just got a call from somebody and said, hey, I think this guy from Dickinson might be able to help me, and introduced myself and worked a basketball camp and just you got to do stuff that other people aren't willing to do. That's what makes you stand out. And at the end of the day, sometimes that's not enough, but you got to be able to do those things, be willing to do it, and then live with the results, live with the outcome, just like we live with the outcome of games. As long as we do the things leading up to the game that we have to do, then we can give it our best shot. And sometimes the chips fall where you want, sometimes they don't. But if you're not willing to bust your butt every day and really work through things, then I think a goal is just going to be a goal. It's never going to become a box that gets checked.
And last question, if you could sit down and watch a game with any coaches for any sport that could be dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Yeah, that's easy for me. That's easy for me. Like I said, Philly, born and raised, Buddy Ryan, John Chaney, and Coach Heimerdinger. I've never sat and watched a game with Coach Heimerdinger. I've sat on the bench and watched the same game because he put me there. But just to be a peer to him for 2 hours, not on the same level, but like both head coaches and sit and talk as a head coach with someone that you look up to, someone that you'd run through a wall for. Like, I think that would be amazing. Buddy Ryan, like tough, nasty defense first, physical, in your face, not afraid to hold back and speak his mind. Like, that fits my personality. I'm a diehard Eagles fan, season ticket holder. So Buddy Ryan, for me, as long as he brought me a Kelly Green Eagles hat, like that would be 2 cool ones for me. And then just, to stick with earlier, John Chaney. I mean, one time John Chaney gave me a $5 bill when I was a ball boy at the Palestra for the Atlantic 10 tournament. The Atlantic 10 used to hold their tournament at the Palestra, and I was a ball boy. And I remember one time John Chaney and Temple were coming out of the locker rooms. He gave me a $5 bill and said, run and grab me a pack of peanut M&Ms. So I ran up the steps, got a pack of peanut M&Ms, brought him back down, gave him the coach. He let me keep the change. I think it was like $3. And then he waited to get his M&Ms. I gave them to him. He ate 2, and he walked out on the court. So, to be able to watch a game with him and say like, hey, remember that time you gave me $3? But that was my only interaction with Coach Chaney. So to be able to, reminisce about that and just, watching his Indiana University team lose in the NCAA tournament, and that was crushing, and be able to talk to him about my memories of him and his teams. But to also sit there and talk about a game with him and Buddy Ryan and Dinger, like, Mr. McGarry, could you even imagine those 3? Like, that would be nuts. I would probably just sit and watch those 3 interact the whole time and just like.
I love this question because everybody, goes at it a different way. A couple of the girls were like, I just have one person. But a lot of the guys would do, like you said, and I said the same thing to Steven. I said, that's a great question because everybody's going to give you a different answer. And I said, and then I said, when,
I was going to Jesse Madden.
Yeah, Jesse Madden. He interviewed John Madden's grandson.
Yeah.
He's a senior. Yeah, he's a quarterback, senior in high school out in the Oakland area. And
amazing.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing who he signs with and all.
Yeah.
But you've been wonderful here. We appreciate all the great words about Steven there.
And thank you, man.
And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I told him, I said, you could have told him we could have done it another night. I didn't realize your season was starting Thursday.
Neither did I.
When I'm on my deathbed one day, someone's going to look at me and said, what is the greatest thing you ever have done? And I'm going to say, I had my children and was married, and I was on the Legends podcast, episode 168 or whatever it is. I think you are doing something that is amazing. On a personal note, Steve, you and I were in Doherty at the same time. I think you were down there on the first floor and I was roaming around, and then we'd be together in the gyms on Friday nights and Sundays. So, man, what a blessing and how amazing to be able to reconnect with you all these years later. And how funny is this, right, Steve? Like, you were cheering for me and my teammates back in 99, 2000, 2001. And now here I am cheering for you and your podcast and everything that you're doing. So, I mean, keep doing it. You're a legend in its own in the halls of Doherty and throughout the greater Philadelphia area when it comes to college athletics.
One more question.
What How did
Oh,
you
okay,
find
all right,
out
we got
that-
the extended version, we're in
Yeah.
overtime.
One more question.
How did you find out that the hockey closed?
Oh, that's a good question. He said, how did you find
How
out?
did I
How'd you
find out
react?
Doherty closed?
Yeah, and how did you react?
My sister told me. My sister still lives in Fox Chase. She's 2 years younger than me, Samantha. She played Doherty. She played basketball at Doherty. She was actually she was a 10 times better basketball player than I was. She got sick with Graves' disease end of her sophomore, and she never played basketball again. But she started as a sophomore for Mary McDonald at Cornell Doherty High School. So how did I find out? Sam told me, and then I remember thinking to myself, like, all right, well, that stinks. That seems like something that happens to other people's schools, not like your school. My dad, my uncles, we all graduated Doherty. I remember going and watching Matt McDonald play basketball at Doherty. And you have a great guest coming on Thursday, Theodis Carolina. You want to talk about an incredible human being, a great representative of Cardinal Doherty basketball, Alvernia University Hall of Famer. So like, thinking back to my days of going and watching guys like Theodis Carolina play and sitting in the loony bin, it was just, it stinks. You have so many memories there. You can smell the gym. You want to go back there on a Friday night in your 30s and watch the young guys play and compete. It would have been amazing to recruit a Doherty guy, but once I graduated, my sister graduated, so like it was okay with me. But I remember asking, like, I got to get in touch with Coach Pierce or Coach Distel. What's going to go on with Coach Heimerdinger? Like that was my first thought is, what's up with my coach? So love that guy to death. He's done so much for so many people, and Steve, you're doing a lot for a lot of people. And Steve, I don't know if you realize how much you've connected people on the Cardinal Doherty alumni page, but you have, and you've brought people out of the woodworks together. So your podcast and what you're doing is it's a smash hit, but it also is it's amazing. I'm very grateful for our time together and knowing you and the support over the years. And I hope that I can give you the same support on all your future ventures. And you always have a fan here. And I'm a text or a call away with whatever it is that you need, bud.
Oh man, we appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man.
And we're looking forward to cheering Delaware Valley on next
Yeah.
year for sure when we can get a chance to go to the game.
Hopefully.
You'll see him at the
Yeah.
games. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He's going to
All right,
every
and listen-
game. Every day of the week is going to be at a game. No more interviews
And when
next year.
Yeah, hopefully.
And when he sees Coach Haig over there, tell him I need to borrow some hair. Coach Haig,
You got it.
listen, Coach Haig has a great do.
Oh,
All right,
we
he's
know. Yeah, we know.
one of those,
We know,
one of
Coach
those
Haig.
good-looking
Yeah.
judge guys.
Yeah.
You had Heimerdinger on us Doherty guys. We're rough around the edges, man. We are rough.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Hey,
Really
appreciate it, guys. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Same to you all.
Take care.